me be bright and awake and aware. Okay, anyway, welcome to Unlock Your First Six Figures morning show. I am your host, Shay Cannon. I'm an award-winning fractional chief operating officer, award-winning, and I have an exclusive clientele of 6 and 7 figure CEOs. However, I also have a mission. That mission includes you, and that is entrepreneurs and small business owners who are spinning their wheels and struggling to get to their first 6 figures in business. I want to show you how to make the money and create time freedom. That's make the money and create time freedom. My freedom looks like living and working my business from anywhere in the world. I'll spare you the journey, but I am currently in Mexico, okay? Blog Talk for today has released. We're already talking this week about creating influence, the blueprint, okay? And today's topic is on Instagram. Yesterday, we talked about Facebook. Now, how did I get on this topic of the blueprint anyway? Well, shout out to Issa Rae because I've loved her since Insecure, and of course, her 2017 interview about the Grammys when they were asked her simply, who are you rooting for? And she said, everybody black, right? Everybody black. And that was awesome. But recently I had the honor of hearing her live at a business conference. And one of the things that she said to me that struck me was that, you know, to be successful, you don't have to start from the beginning, that there are blueprints out there. All you have to do is find them. And most likely the holder of those blueprints are people who are already successful, right? Now, I also recently, like in the last month, had the chance to catch her master class. And in her sessions, even though it was all about creating characters and, you know, getting a series off the ground and all of that good stuff, she again mentioned blueprints. And not only did she talk about some of the blueprints that made her success, her whole master class was about giving us a blueprint, okay? So blueprints are important for success. This week, we're talking about blueprints for creating your influence. Yesterday, we talked about blueprints and people who gave them to us for Facebook. Okay, top influencers in Facebook and what their blueprint is. Today, we're going to talk about Instagram and some top influencers on Instagram and their blueprints that we have kind of reverse engineered. Now, as you know, Instagram is very visual. It's a very visual platform. So I want you to check out these blueprints for this top visual platform, okay? The first influencer is Marie Forleo. Okay, Marie Forleo. She is a renowned entrepreneur, author, and business coach. In fact, her claim to fame is a program called B School. And of course, B stands for business. And so that's her claim to fame. Is also where a lot of her abundance came from. Okay, so what she does, this is her blueprint. So listen up. She provides valuable insights in building a meaningful and profitable business, okay? That's her blueprint. So what I kind of feel in there is a little mission-driven and value-driven mixed together, right? She doesn't just want you to have a successful and profitable, she doesn't just want you to have a successful business. She wants it to be profitable and she wants it to be meaningful. So it's revenue-driven and purpose or mission-driven, all right? Jasmine Star is our next influencer. She's a photographer and business strategist. And on Instagram, what she does as her blueprint is she shares branding and photography tips. Branding and photography tips. Okay, so how great is that on a visual platform, she's giving tips on how to, you know, get your message across and communicate it with branding, but she's also dipping into the visual. Okay, so is that a blueprint that you want to follow? Because that's what you're doing. You're trying to figure out what blueprint you want to follow. All right. Next person, Nikki Brown. Okay. Now, this is interesting because Nikki Brown is what she calls a communication stylist, right? She's an old wordsmith and branding expert. Now, listen to her blueprint. She helps entrepreneurs and businesses improve their communication skills and messaging by sharing valuable tips and insights on effective communication and brand development. So there's a theme coming on here, right? So people are really giving tips on the thing that they're an expert at. Do you want that to be a part of your blueprint? All right. Now, Next up, the influencer is Jenn Herman. Okay, Jenn Herman. And she is a social media strategist and Instagram expert. So on the platform we're talking about today, she's an expert on that platform. Now let's see what her blueprint is. Jenn shares up-to-date trends, strategies, and best practices for businesses and individuals looking to grow their presence on Instagram. Okay, so did you get that? Up-to-date trends, strategies, and best practices. All right, love that as a blueprint. All right, and as a bonus, because our top influencers aren't always Black, and like Issa Rae, I'm rooting for everybody Black. As a bonus, I'm always going to give you a Black person who has influence and what their blueprint is. Today's bonus is Patricia Bright. Patricia Bright, and she's a British Nigerian fashion and lifestyle influencer. Okay, her blueprint is all about showcasing fashion trends, beauty tips, and lifestyle content. Okay, she's known, catch this as part of her blueprint, she's known for being authentic with a relatable approach. Authentic with a relatable approach. Now, I'll venture to say that that's a part of my blueprint, right? Being very authentic to who I am and being approachable, but not for everybody, because y'all already know. I don't want to attract everybody. But anyway, those are the blueprints for today. We're using Instagram as the platform, but as you know, these blueprints can be used on any platform for any type of content, for any type of sharing of your expertise, and you building influence anywhere. All right. Now, ladies, I'm going to do a quick recap because I kind of feel like I went a little slow and you might have forgotten. Marie Forleo, her blueprint was providing valuable insights and building a meaningful and profitable business. Okay, that was her blueprint. Jasmine Star, her blueprint was to share branding and photography tips. Okay, and she is a photographer, so that's what she does. Nikki Brown, she calls herself a communication stylist as well as a branding expert. Her blueprint is to improve the communication and branding of businesses and individuals by providing valuable tips and insights on effective communication and brand development. Okay, so this is another expert sharing what they do, tips on what they do. Okay, Jenn Herman, her blueprint was sharing up-to-date trends, okay, strategies, and best practices within her expertise. And then finally, Patricia, what she's doing is she's sharing trends within her expertise, tips and expertise around her own expertise, right? And adding in lifestyle content. And what she's doing is she's known for being approachable and authentic. Okay, so those are our 5 blueprints for you to choose from. And what I want to know is what pieces of different blueprints or what full blueprints from what I've talked about that you're going to pull into your business and start to use to build your own influence. All right, now that I'm finished tripping over my words and spitting everywhere, Teray, which blueprint are you going to follow? We're talking about Instagram, and so yes, please talk about Instagram. However, you know you can do this in any sphere which you want to grow your influence. So which blueprints do you think you will be following?
Okay, so the 2 that I picked was Marie Forleo, because you said it's, she focuses on being profitable and meaningful. So mine is going to be meaningful and successful relationships. And then I chose Nikki Brown because she improves communication by giving tips. And so I want to give effective relationship tips.
Love it. I love that. I love that. All right. And you took it literal, like you're going to do exactly what they're doing before your industry. So I like that. All right, Heather, what blueprints are you going to follow to build your influence?
So not to copy off Teray, but Nikki was the first one I thought of because, as you know, through our conversations, and Teray knows from being at the retreat, like messaging and communication for brand purposes is a big thing for me. So I just started following her, and then also Marie Forleo, just because I was just looking at her page this morning before the show. And I really like her really straightforward manner. Like what you see is what you get. Here we are. And so blending the two of them, plus, I mean, you know, I like adding to the experts who are going to help me succeed. So
Yes, love it, love it. All right, let's go to Miss Demetra. Demetra, which of these blueprints are you going to use to help to build your influence?
I am thinking about Nikki Brown and Jenn Herman, both because of their effective communication, but mainly Jenn because she suggestion tips and best practices. But I like to throw in somebody. Are we gonna have an opportunity to throw in
Come on now.
someone?
Give us some resources. Yes, ma'am.
So Kizia Williams, she is known to help entrepreneurs with AI creation, having people write books, just everything. And she goes from children all the way up to, you know, the elderly, and the benefits of using AI for content creation and books and merchandise and everything. So I would throw her in.
Cool beans. I love that. So if you don't mind, Demetra, when you get a chance, put that in the comments on Facebook so everybody knows who you're talking about and they can go find her. So that was great.
Okay.
Thank you. Glow, I don't know if you can come off the mic. If you can't, you can put it in the chat. Let me know which one of these blueprints are you going to use and follow to grow your influence. Today we're talking about Instagram, but you can use these blueprints anywhere that you can grow your influence. So you can use the chat and I'll let everybody else know what you wrote. Dr. LaFera, we're ready for you to come off the mic, ma'am. So which of these blueprints are you going to use, Dr. LaFera? We have Marie Forleo, we have Jasmine Star, we have Nikki Brown, we have Jenn Herman, and the bonus was Patricia Bright. Which one are you going to use to grow your influence?
I think, let's see. Okay, so let's see what I wrote. The one who is authentic, Patricia Bright, who's authentic and relatable. I want to be come off as authentic and relatable so that I can get women to trust me when I'm telling them, you know, things like listen to your body and telling them how like me listening to my body has helped me. And, you know, I'm trying to get conversations started that way, grow community. And then as far as blueprints, I could also do more things because women always ask me like how I do certain stuff like makeup or what I use and stuff like that. So I guess that's like more tutorials. So that would be more like the photography person. I put down Brandon photography tips, but I didn't put down her name. No.
Her name was Jasmine Star.
Yeah, Jasmine Star.
I'm gonna tell you, Dr. LaFera, I really like Patricia's whole blueprint for you. So what we know is that she is in fashion, right? And what she does is she talks about fashion trends, but then she dips over into related topics, into beauty tips. And then she also talks about lifestyle as a whole, and she does it in that relatable, authentic way. I think that's you. Right? So you have an umbrella of talking about women's health over 40, and a part of that health is them feeling good, eating good, doing things that are good for them. So you're dipping into these different relatable areas, and you're giving us different trends, especially with the magnetic lashes, baby. And so dipping into that lifestyle content, because most of what we women over 40 are dealing with is lifestyle crises, right? Stemming from either health or just aging. So I love all of that for you. I really do.
What's her last name?
Bright. R-I-G.
Oh, Bright. Okay, got you. I thought you said whole. I didn't get that one. Okay, got you.
Patricia Bright. And don't forget, you go to the blog post at shaycannon.com/blueprint and get all of these people, and they're hyperlinked. So there, and Demetra has put in her AI influencer, Kezia Williams. And so that's awesome. All right, what you say, Dr. LaFera?
No, I said thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, so let's give another recap because I know we got Stacy in from Africa. We got Tracy that came in, and I want to make sure everybody hears these blueprints. Okay, so again, Marie Folio. First of all, the platform we're talking about today is Instagram. And we have picked top influencers from Instagram to talk about their blueprints. The first influencer is Marie Folio. Her blueprint has to do with providing valuable insights into building a meaningful and profitable business. Okay, that's her blueprint. Okay, it's kind of mission driven and revenue driven. Jasmine Star, who is a photographer and business strategist, she shares branding and photography tips. Okay, that is her blueprint. She's sharing tips from her expertise. All right, Nikki Brown, who calls herself a communication stylist, she is sharing what she does is she helps you to improve your communication skills and your brand messaging. And what her blueprint is she's sharing valuable tips and insights on effective communication and brand development. So again, somebody else sharing information and tips on their expertise as a blueprint. Then we got Jenn, who is a social media strategist, and her blueprint is to share up-to-date trends, strategies, and best practices for businesses and individuals who want to grow their presence, right? So she really is talking directly to us right now for the topic of our week. And then we have as a bonus to root for everybody Black, we have Patricia Bright, who is a British Nigerian fashion influencer, and her blueprint is to share fashion trends, beauty tips, lifestyle content, but she's known for being authentic with a relatable approach. Okay, so those are all the blueprints. So Stacy, which one of these blueprints are you going to use to help to grow your influence?
Well, there were two that were similar, but so it's kind of like, I don't know which one to choose of those, but it was about sharing tips based on their experience.
Yes.
So there was one right before, I can't remember the name, but that and also Patricia Bright.
Cool beans. Okay, the one sharing tips from their expertise were Jasmine Star and Nikki Brown, both. So number 2 and number 3 both share tips from their actual expertise. So let's talk about that though, right? And Tracy, we're going to get to you next, but let's talk about sharing tips from your expertise. We have to be careful not to give away the information that we're trying to sell, right? We have to be careful not to do that. Sometimes we think, well, I'm just going to give them a little bit, and then when they buy in and they invest, I'll give them all of it. The problem with that is we don't always know how to help them to understand that the little bit that we gave them is not enough, right? So some people take the little bit, they see it as enough for now, and they don't find out for 2 or 3 years that that was not enough, right? And we don't want that. So when you are sharing tips and all the things from your actual expertise where you sell that as a transformation, be careful what you're sharing so that you don't cannibalize what you're trying to sell. A great way to do that is when you share stuff, make sure that you identify the gap in what you said, what you shared, and what they actually need for the transformation. Okay, so I don't want you out here not giving valuable information or not giving tips. I just want you to remind people and help them to understand, hey, I'm sharing this with you, but you need more. Right? If you want to actually get a transformation, if you're actually serious about being successful, all these things, you need more, and this is not everything. All right. So just remember that.
How do you do that? How do you put the gap in? Like I use a lot of Chat GPT for writing my scripts or whatever you want to call them. How do you tell it to, you know, I'm just in time, in consideration of time.
So sometimes it's not a matter of you telling it, even though that's a great start. Sometimes it's a matter of the reason why Chat GPT cannot replace us is because we have an intuition that it doesn't have, right? So sometimes it's just going to take you looking at the output from Chat GPT and updating it for what you needed to say. That's what needs to happen sometimes, right? But basically what you want to do, for example, give me a tip that you want to give.
Let's say using TCM to deal with grief.
Okay. So what you want to talk about So first of all, you want to tell them what your expertise is, which is that the medicine, it's the Eastern medicine, right?
Yeah.
And so you want to talk about the Eastern medicine. You want to talk about whatever them initials was that you talked about, using it for grief. And you want to give a couple of tips. But then at the end of the tips, you want to remind them that grief is not monolithic. Everybody deals with grief differently. You might need more support, right? Grief is going to come and go. The amount of support that you need is going to be different. Stagnant tips may or may not be enough for you. So at the point that you find out it's not enough, let's have a conversation. It's free. You see how I did that?
Yep, love it.
Yeah. So basically all you're doing is you're not keeping it a secret that you only gave them a piece. You're announcing loudly, hey, I only gave you a piece, right? I feel like in the past, what people have done is they've given away everything in the kitchen sink. And then when they bring the offer, they wonder why nobody's buying. Well, you made them feel like they got everything they needed for free, right? Or for a lower cost. And so what's happening is now the offer that actually brings the transformation, they're not interested in because they think they have enough. They don't know what they don't know, right? So even when you're giving tips, and let's say you're doing a free webinar, and let's say in that webinar, you're giving 6 things that are whatever, I say don't even wait to the end to show the gap. Show the gap with each thing and tell them how that's not enough on its own, okay? So show the gap. Or as Andy Heringuez taught me, the money is in the gap, okay? The money is in the gap. If you can't show these people the difference between the information you gave them and the totality, the accumulation of the information they need for the actual transformation, you leaving money on the table. So cool beans, cool beans. All right. Tracy, I hope that whole little run that I just did didn't make you forget what blueprints you wanted to pick today. So what blueprints are you interested in incorporating for you, Tracy?
Okay. I actually really like Patricia Bright and the fact that she is authentic with relatable, and she's relatable and approachable. And the fact that she talks about lifestyle. And when I'm talking to people about, holistic wealth, I'm dealing with the lifestyle as a whole. And just taking them from one stage to another and really allowing them to see the gap in what they've been doing in their lives trying to reach wealth, because they haven't touched on the other parts of it. When you talk about physical and time and relationships and your mental state, everybody wants to just look at the money. So when I bring it all together, I'm being relatable because I'm giving life skills along with it, but I'm letting them know that there's a whole piece, a whole pie, not just a piece of it. And so I would look at her as a guide.
I love that. I love that. So yesterday, what struck me as something I don't think we do enough in our blueprints for building influence is interviewing others. And that came from Charlamagne tha God's blueprint, right? He interviews others. So sometimes you don't have to be the only expert, right? Sometimes you can interview others and bring value to the people that also helps you to build your influence, even though you're borrowing credibility and influence from somebody else, right? So don't forget these things that are standout, say we don't use enough. So that was from yesterday. The one from today that stood out to me that I don't feel like we use enough is tapping into the trends, right? And maybe even newsjacking around things that are our expertise. What we know is the foundation of our expertise, right, is going to kind of not change. But sometimes the way we implement that foundation has trends and news associated with it, right? And we can then create content on that makes us stand out as an influencer that has an opinion or has brought to light another way and perspective of looking at things. So let's not forget these little tiny ways. So Dr. LaFera says, Shay, how is that different from podcast, Charlamagne? If you're talking about interview, you can interview people on any manner of formats, podcasting included. So you can have a television show that's a YouTube channel. You can have a podcast that is audio only, right? You can interview people as a live stream, right? As content. So there are different ways you can interview people. You can have summits and virtual conferences and events where you have fireside chats and interviews and panels. So it's different ways to do it. It doesn't just have to be a podcast. Heather said, Jack in the News is where it's at. I just talked to my authors about this last night. And that's coming from Heather, who is a journalist, right? What I'm going to tell you is, if it is a hot topic and it is in the news, then it's a chance for you to take that thing and give your spin on it. I'm going to tell you like this. I think that we as entrepreneurs, we undervalue putting our spin on things. We undervalue it. But as you grow your tribe, what you're going to realize is your tribe doesn't care who else had something to say about something. They still are going to want to know what you have to say. I've learned that from y'all, right? I'll say, oh, there's plenty of information out there on this particular thing. They can always go out and see what so-and-so is saying. Y'all don't care. Y'all still want to know what I have to say about the thing. Right. And I even have had people come and ask me something that I was like, I started to create content on that, but I felt like it was enough news out there on it. No, you still need to be creating content on the trends of what's happening in your industry, the trends of what's happening in the world, the news of what's happening in the world, and bring it back and relate it to whatever your expertise is, and give your tribe a perspective that they need to maybe consider. Right. Heather, you surely is writing a lot like you ain't got no mic. I don't understand what's going on with you, but okay. Heather says, become a trusted source for your local media. She said your newspaper and broadcast reporters look for local connections to bring big stories down to our personal levels. That was awesome. That was awesome sauce. So yeah, I want y'all not to forget to do that. Because as you're building a tribe and you're building influence, and I want you to think about the people who are influential in your own life, right? Things can happen, you can hear it on the news, but something about the person that you have chosen to influence you with their thoughts, you still want to hear from them. That's going to be the same with the people who pick you as their influencer. So don't be afraid to talk on topics. Just because everybody else is talking on it, don't mean anything. A great example is, when they did, what was the name of the limited Netflix series that starred Octavia Spencer, and it was on Madam C.J. Walker. I forget the name of the series, but I still took that series and wrote a blog post about it. And I basically said, these are the business lessons that I learned from this series, right? I just recently did it from the movie Painkiller when we had our movie club night. I need to pick another movie. We need another movie club night, maybe for November. And I still need to get y'all those notes too. I just remembered that. Because basically, things that were very clear to me and obvious to me as we started discussing the movie, y'all were like, oh, now that you said something, I see that. Or, oh, I didn't see that before you said it. Or, oh, that's a different way to think about that, right? All because I had my own perspective on it and I brought it into what my expertise and what my industry is. So you guys can do the same thing. You can do it with movies. You can do it with celebrity happenings. You could do it with news. You could do it with a lot of stuff. Self-made. Thank you, Demetra. Self-made. So yes, all of these are ways to grow your influence, and people are out here doing it as a part of their blueprint. So you can always pull it into your blueprint too. All right. Any questions about the blueprints from today or yesterday? Any questions? Come off the mic. Come off the mic. Come off the mic. All right. I don't think y'all have any questions. So guess what we're going to do? We didn't do our Monday question on yesterday, so we're going to do it today. And so I'm going to go around. I'm going to start at the bottom and come up. And I'm going to start with Tracy. But the question is, what is at least one thing that you're going to do this week to work on your business and not just in your business? So Tracy Powell, our experience expert, T. Lynn, what is at least one thing you're going to do this week to work on your business and not just in your business?
I am going to actively post to Instagram every day with relatable content for what I'm doing and what I can offer.
Oh shit, that's what I'm talking about. Go ahead and use this blueprint from today. Go ahead and get started. Love it. Stacy, what is at least one thing you're going to do this week to work on your business and not just in your business?
I am creating ad campaigns for my social media account. So I'm just working on making sure that the content that goes out is the right content.
Love it. Come through. Aligned messaging. That is definitely in a blueprint. Dr. LaFera, what is at least one thing you're going to do this week to work on your business and not just in your business? And we're going to let, there you go.
I'm gonna post, well, after I get my stuff up on the site for my college, and I'm gonna post a blog that I created this weekend for somebody else's newsletter, but I'm gonna post it on my site to direct people and start creating more content around them.
Love
And
it.
post.
All righty. So Glow has told us in the chat that she's going to continue to keep posting on social media and build this radio/podcast platform. Goodness. Get it. All right. Demetra, what is at least one thing you're going to do this week to work on your business and not just in your business?
I'm going to give a couple of things. So this is ADHD Awareness Month. So I've been posting in one particular group, informational tips and directing them back to the website. I need to take that now and work on transferring to Instagram, maybe making some stories or reels. And I'm currently working on a mini course for parents for reading comprehension and vocabulary development, but keeping the mini courses very short, like 20 minutes. And so I need to start doing some video content on that and some photos.
Oh, beans. That was so good that Heather said that she gonna totally newsjack that for some of her posts. So I love that. And so Demetra just revealed something from another blueprint. She's sharing from her own blueprint in that she's using these awareness months, right? So you can use the awareness month. Most of them are medical awareness. You can use the social media holidays, the federal holidays. Like yesterday was Indigenous Peoples Day, right? No longer Columbus Day. So you can be using all of these things to create content, give your perspective, and get information out there. So Heather, what is at least one thing that you're going to do this week to work on your business and not just in your business?
I am outlining the first 5 episodes for Dr. Tachi's Media Scope.
Cool beans. So you're going to be on Indie Soup and you're outlining your first
5 episodes.
5 episodes of your show. Cool beans. Crazy thing is I got my whole outline. I got the first 3. I need to get back to work. I really do. So thanks for the reminder.
The first 3 are shot already, right? So
yeah, I just need to edit them together and do my descriptions. So every time I think I'm ready to go back to it, something happens and I'm like, oh, I got all of that to do. Oh, okay, let me hold on. So, okay. Teray, what is at least one thing that you're going to do this week to work on your business and not just in your business?
Couple things. I'm going to go through my personal 6-figure revenue plan from the retreat because it's fire.
Boom.
Fire. I'm going to finalize some video content that I need to start doing next week. I'm going to create a timeline for a rollout for the rest of the year. Which will be updating my website because I have these fabulous photos that I took, like at the beach. And I got to get that book published by the end of the year.
Please do, because that kicks off your plan. So can't have a plan without it. So go ahead and kick it off. All right, Kimberly, you're going to have to catch the replay for the Instagram platform blueprints we talked about today. However, you can answer us about what is at least one thing that you're going to do this week to work on your business and not just in your business.
Good morning, everyone. So the one thing that I am definitely going to do is finish a mini course that I started on client and customer service excellence. I'll finish that, and then I'm going to start working on the actual landing page for the Rambush CSE Consulting group.
Yes. Cool.
Yes, that's what I'm going to do.
All right. I love it. If you're interested in the retreat that Heather and Teray keeps talking about, I gave them a sneak peek of their pictures on Sunday. So they got to see all of their brand photos on the rooftop with the Caribbean Sea behind them. And then today, this morning, everybody got my version of their six-figure plan. So they already had a one-on-one session during the retreat, but then they now have it in a plan form that's easily executable. And so if you're interested in next year's retreat, please go to shakehannon.com/retreat. Don't get left behind, because we are bringing the fire. We're bringing, all these things that you need for your transformational business growth. All right. Because we're definitely interested in your success. So do that. Okay. But if you don't want to wait till next year and you say, hey, I won't need one of them six-figure plans, that's fine. There's a way that you can get it. It's called a strategy session. So hit me up. Let's talk about it. shakehannon.info/talk. Let's talk about the best way to get a plan to get you on your journey to your first six figures with a personal custom plan that takes into account where you are and where you want to go based on your strengths, weaknesses, resources, and budget. All right. shakehannon.info/talk. Let's get it. Let's get it. All right, guys. Last call for alcohol. Does anybody have a business question or a question about anything we talked about this week, today, any of that?
Okay, so let me just, I want to apologize because I'm still on a high from the retreat. Y'all, let me just say something. I gotta say something. Like we follow Shay, okay? She's great at what she does. She gives us great value. She challenges us to come up with the best solutions for our business. But at that retreat, let me just say, we saw a completely different side of Shay, okay? She was a great hostess. She accommodated us because me and Danae have allergies, but she also, what she did was, even whenever we were in our resting stage, she would have casual conversations with us about, trying to get an idea of where our thoughts were and our perspectives were on our business and where we wanted to go. But when she did that deep dive session for both of us, or for each of us, I've never seen Shay like this. Now, the thing is, I went on the retreat because I wanted that one-on-one time with her. I wanted to, but she gave, when I tell you she gave, I didn't know she knew that much. Like, I know she's smart. I know she's smart. She knows a lot. She has clients. She's multiple six figures. We know that. But I had no idea what magic she had to bring. We got over and above. People charge thousands of dollars for these sessions. Besides the photo shoot, I've had professional photo shoots and professional makeup. This was beyond anything I've ever had. But aside from that, the value that she gave, like, I needed every single thing that she brought to the table for my, like, I have a business degree. I needed what Shay brought to the listen, my business is about to take off because of that session. And that's all I got. Look, that's all I got to say. This magic that she sent us this morning about our personal six-figure plan that she created for us is everything. It's worth every penny. I'm just saying. Like, I'm still trying to figure out how it only costs what it costs and all this stuff that we got. I'm like, the resort, the hotel we stayed at was great. It was all included. Like, I can't figure out why it didn't cost more. That's what I'm serious. Okay, that's all. I'm done. What time is it? I'm done. That's all.
I mean, if you're not going next year, I don't even know what you're doing with your life. Legitimately, what are you doing with your life? What are you doing? Because your business can't wait. Your life cannot wait. Like, I know it's a whole year away and you're going to have to plan for it and all that sort of thing. Do it. Because not only does Shay bring so much value to it and her expertise, like, if you think the stuff she comes up with on the fly here in the morning when she's tired and haven't had any sleep, whew, friend, when you get her around a table or sitting next to you on a lounge chair and you're just super chilling, and then all of a sudden she's like, so what do you think you're going to do with that marketing for fourth quarter? Like, and then she just goes into like a whole ass thing about the one thing that you should focus on. And you're like, wait, what? And you're like, I don't have a notebook. I'm sitting here in a swimsuit. What am I supposed to write down? right? Like her
And she's
brain
so committed. She's so committed to
so
each
committed.
person's business. She was up. Shawana took the most because she's the fussiest. And we love Shawana.
We love her. Shawana, we love you.
She's the fussiest, but she took the longest, and Shay was committed. They were up until almost 2 a.m. because Shay was pouring in. We were asleep, but
Yes, we were. We were dead asleep.
right. But the thing is that she also allowed us to, she invited us to each person's sessions, because while she's pouring into the other person, you're like, oh, you know what I mean? And then if you ask questions about other people's, it was phenomenal. Like I've been in PSP for 6 years. I've been in Mastermind. It was nothing. It was unlike anything. Listen, you need it. That's all.
I mean, if you think you need somebody to hold your hand to take you through all that, like Shay is your person. And like, I'm literally in the next room from her, and it takes all my willpower to not be like, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question? Because she's got her own stuff to do. I got my stuff to do. I have a whole ass blueprint to follow. Right? And getting more visibility is part of that blueprint, which is why I'm doing the outline for Dr. Tachi today. Right? So that's done, and I don't have to think about it anymore. But that's visibility, which feeds into a lot of what Shawana talks about. And so when Shay was talking to Dania and Teray, and we're around the table, I wasn't even part of that conversation. That's their businesses. But like, I would ask a clarifying question. Hey, what do you mean by that? Does that mean this, or does that mean that? You know, like the discussion was so full, is like the best way I can describe it. It was full.
And what would happen is, like, Shay would be doing my session, and then Heather would ask a question, a clarifying question, and then Shay would go into this whole big deep dive. Like, Heather would ask a question that I didn't think to ask about my own business, and Shay would answer, and I was like, yo. Not only did she send us, she recorded it. So I have the recording in my email along with the written blueprint that she came up with. Y'all, it's everything.
I'm telling you, if you go shaycannon.com/retreat, go there now. Do not pass go. Do not click $200. Go now.
So let me tell y'all, for me, again, it's important to show the gap. And Heather, you need to go start your writing room book. But you have to show the gap, right? I give you value every day. And it's not that the content that I give you is not valuable. It's not that you can't go and do something with it. What it is it's not enough, right? Because all of you are smart. If it was enough, you would have got it off Google. You'd have been taking the tips that I gave you, and you would be successful by now. It's not enough on its own. Because even though you may be asking clarifying questions from free content, what's happening is you don't know what you don't know, and I don't know your business. I haven't done a deep dive into your business, and so I don't know what's being left out, right? And so the gap is when I do a plan, I'm starting from your clarity to your structure and your first strategies. Some of y'all are getting into masterminds and getting into programs and buying courses that are about high-level strategies that will not work for you unless you have this as a foundation, right? You need that clarity, you need the structure, you need the first strategies first. Now, not only am I giving you a blueprint, what's happening is I'm taking into account exactly where you are in business, right? Who you are in business. What are the strengths and the weaknesses of you? Do you have a team? Do you not have a team, right? What resources do you actually have at your disposal to help you on your journey of where you want to go? What is the phase that you're in now? What is the next phase? And what is the next phase, right? So that's all the things that we're doing, and that's why it's so different. And you cannot get that from free content. Like, I can sit here and answer every question that you got, and you still won't get it. I can sit here and do a deep dive on topics, but it's in a general way. So it's not taking into account who you are, who your business is, where you are, all of these things, right? This is why I believe in that hybrid type of format where you're going to get the foundation. The foundational formula is not going to change, right? But how you work that foundation may be different than how Dr. LaFera works it. It's going to be different than how Kimberly works it. It's going to be different than how Demetra works it, because y'all are different. Your business is different. Your strengths and weaknesses are different. The resources you have at your disposal to invest into your path to your first 6 figures is different, right? And so this is why a lot of group coaching programs don't work. Right? Even when you come on and you have, okay, I gave you modules, go study these modules, and then we're going to have Q&A. The problem with Q&A is if you're not giving me an anchor in which to answer my question, I don't know what I don't know, so I don't ask shit, right? I don't ask anything. I don't know what to ask, and I don't want to look dumb. I don't want to look stupid, right? So I don't ask. And then so what happens is you end up having the same maybe 2 people out of like 100 people that ask questions all the time. And then y'all just try to glean all you can off their questions. Well, I don't allow for that. That's a gap, right? And I feel that gap because I'm going to do a deep dive. And then what's going to happen is you start off with that one-on-one. And then now what happens is we go to the foundation. And now what happens is you're working the foundation and the plan, and I'm there to help you pivot. So, yep, show the gap, y'all. And it wasn't lying. The money is in the gap. You can give value all day long. I'm talking about all the things. If you can't show the gap, though, you will not make the money. Right? You will not make the money. So they got all of that from the retreat, and all of it was valuable, and they're about to work it, and they will have a transformation in their business. But guess what else? There's still another gap. And I introduced them to that gap today. And that is, yes, we did a deep dive and you have a plan, but you actually need me to be there with you, right by your side as you work the plan. And that's my level 2 program. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be able to identify the gaps and let people know what they're missing out on. Because when they start to hit issues or whatever, they need to know that, hey, I forecasted this issue. I told you you were going to solve that with what you had. You have to invest now on another level or, in another thing. The gap, that's where your money at. All right. Any more questions? Any questions? And thank you for that, Teray. Teray, like, thank you, shit. Thank you, Teray.
Right. It's just the truth. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah. What I loved about the retreat was I don't get mad when I don't fill all slots, or I filled all of them and some people had to get they couldn't come for different reasons or whatever. Because all I do is I stay intuitive. And now I look at who is coming, and now I cater things to them. So one reigning thing about me that keeps showing up, that is a part of my brand promise, is I'm still going to make it about you some kind of way. Right? I'm not going to force you into a cookie cutter or anything, because that's what you've been invested in, and that's what's been not working for you. So it's a lot of changes. It's so funny because based on what they bought in the retreat and what they got, they were like, how did you think to do this? Like, I didn't know we were going to do that. When did you change this? And they would see me changing stuff on the fly. And because I knew what the priority was, right? The priority was not what it looked like on the face. The priority was to make sure everybody got their transformation. You're going to get rest. You're going to have fun. You're going to have an experience. But the true priority that you paid for, that if you walk away from here and didn't get, that you would feel like all of this shit was for nothing, that true transformation was what you need to transform your business, right? You can go to Florida and sit on the beach by yourself for less. So the beach part wasn't all of it. It was just added value. So, So when you are coming up with programs, when you are coming up with events and experiences, and Tracy can help you with your experiences, right? Kimberly can help you with your experiences. But at the end of the day, you have to know what the priority is. And you have to make sure the priority is what happens first and foremost, and then you build everything else around the priority, right? Because I started off with the 6-figure day. Like, what is that going to look like? What are we going to do? How am I going to do it? How am I going to fill the gaps that I'm trying to fill? And then I built the fun and the experience around that. So don't forget that. Fill the gap. That's where the money is. And don't forget what the priority is when you're doing stuff. It's real easy to get lost, which is why I had to remind, was it you, Kimberly? Or I forget who it was, about courses yesterday. Like, don't throw all that stuff in there and then forget what the straight path is, right? The straight path to the transformation is what's the priority. That's what's important. That's what people are paying for. Because let me tell you, you start giving them above and beyond and they lose the path, they're going to be mad. And you're going to be like, how you mad? I gave you more than what you needed, because they lost sight of what they needed and all that stuff that you gave them. So always identify what the straight path is. Everything else is a bonus. It's icing. But people need cake. Very few people are going to be happy with icing and no cake. All right?
And just so you know, she keeps saying, fill the gap, fill the gap. If you don't know what your gap is, when she gives you your deep dive, she'll help you find your gap and then show you how to fill it. Period.
Most definitely. Tracy said, you got me over here in chills. I got to be there next year. Yep. ShayCannon.com/retreat. Come
I wholeheartedly
on.
agree.
Come
I
on. Yeah.
wholeheartedly.
And I just went to my third-party funder on yesterday, and they are willing to fund the retreat. So even if you're looking for, yes, it's next September. It's always that last week of September. So the third-party funding has agreed to fund the retreat. And so you guys will have another option of investment because I didn't know if they would do it, because they don't fund everything and they don't fund everybody, right? They look at premium programs, they look at proven programs. And so I was able to show them that, you know, the retreat this year was a success. And so now they're willing to fund it because I have payment options, but, you know, depending on what your I'm going to say, liquid assets look like, because you cannot be broke and simply don't have liquid assets to put that much per month aside. So it's not about brokenness. It's about what do you have liquid that you can invest in to get that return that you want. And so the third-party funder just allows you to pay less per month for a longer period of time than I can afford to allow. So that's something I'll be updating the site with this week. So something to keep in mind so that you guys can jump on it and get started. But that's all I got today, ladies. We'll be back tomorrow. I think TikTok is our platform for tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. So I can't wait to dive into that. But until then, the studio is closing. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the morning. I love today too. Man, these be some good days.